Hello and welcome to another edition of UFO Video Addicts. Let me give you a quick preview of what I got coming up in this video. The first is this short clip about these aliens or these extraterrestrials or whatever you want to call them that are attacking a small village in Peru. And in the last video I called them like face rippers because they're called patacadas, but it's actually face peelers. So in this short clip you'll actually see why they're called face peelers. Also I have this compilation video of UFO sightings in 2023. Actually, there's a bunch of, it's intercut with a bunch of movie clips, so you have to go through it to find, the UFO sightings or other things I found on the moon. Also have this video here of a flotilla or armada of UFOs like shooting out of this volcano. Popocatépetl volcano. And let's see, got this video here of a sphere that was captured by a helicopter crew in New Mexico. And this is a clip from the Theory of Everything when Kurt Jaimungal asks Lou what's his most sobering thought, or what the most sobering thing he's learned about this UFOs, and he goes into explaining how basically everything we've been taught, we've been taught in school by the academics, our government has been lying to us about human development and the history of the planet and things like that. So he gets into that. And then last is this newspaper clip from 1897 of a UFO sighting. And this is goes back to what basically my YouTube channel is about. It's just revealing how, they're not all visitors. Now, again, granted, there has to be some visitors, right? I've talked about this before. There are people who have described seeing beings with life support system. There are people who have seen crash saucers with aliens, crawling out, gasping for air because they can't breathe our air. They have trouble breathing our air. And so obviously those are visitors. But there's also, a lot of reports of the little grays or other humanoid beings that look like us, that they can speak our language, they can breathe our air, they're completely conditioned, to this gravity. So, I would have to conclude that that those aren't visitors, that they most likely originate from this planet. But anyways, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please give this video a like, please share this video, and more importantly, please subscribe. It really helps me out. Anyways, so now with this video here, I'm going to disclose, right? Be prepared. It can be graphic. I mean, it's not anything bloody or anything like that, but you're going to see why they're called face peelers. So, fair warning. If you're bothered by things like that, you're gonna have to fast forward through this section. But let me play this video, and again, like I said, you'll see why they are called face peelers. Anyways, check this out.
Peelers, and you're about to see why. This man lying on the bank of a river was victim to one of these alien attacks, and we can see some Peruvian police officers taking the leaves off that were covering his face. Now look at his head. Almost his entire face has been completely removed with what looks to be surgical level precision or greater.
I just want to mention, I've been watching this documentary about cow mutilations, and in almost all the cows that they find, aside from the reproductive organs that are surgically removed, a lot of times you'll see one side of the face, one side of the cow's face has also been removed, and this cut here sort of reminds me of that. So I wonder if something similar is going on.
Now, if this was some sort of movie prop, they did a good job because it looks very convincing. Also, when the officer falls over, you can tell that looks like the real weight of a person. But the video recording itself is also very poorly shot, so the chances of a movie recording is unlikely. Now these aliens...
Yeah, I had some apprehension about showing that, but I figured, if this short put it out there, and they're not getting hit with any type of copyright or any type of community guideline violation, or there isn't any type of disclosure or warning in the beginning. Hopefully, I won't get hit with that. But of course, I'm going to leave the link in the description so you can check it out for yourself, because I have no idea whether or not that's real or authentic. Anyways, let's check out this video here of several different UFO sightings that have taken place.
Gradualmente se expandiram. Parecia uma guirlanda no céu, mas dificilmente anunciava o Natal e o Papai Noel. De acordo com a maioria,
Yeah, this is actually intercut with a bunch of other movie clips, so you have to like go through it. You hear UFO up here. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a UFO or something. I don't know if it's actually a UFO or maybe it's an entrance to the interior of the moon.
algo parecido com uma nave espacial despertou grande interesse no homem.
Yeah, like years ago, again, this is, I'm kind of familiar with this clip. The story was that NASA had been tracking this UFO that was coming in from deep space and ended up landing on the dark side of the moon and, ended up here. But I thought that this might, it wasn't necessarily a craft, but it's an entrance. It's like a lighted entrance to the interior of the moon.
Que começou a perguntar sobre isso a seus conhecidos. As opiniões estão divididas. Alguns acham que o objeto encontrado por seu amigo é muito grande, o que significa que pode ser...
Anyways, that's that. And also, let's see. Oh yeah, this is a clip supposedly of a cow being abducted. Don't know if that's real or not. Let's see. And then, oh yeah, this is supposed to be this giant, I think it's like a mile long.
Apollo 20 realmente aconteceu e que ele...
Mile long UFO. There was the Apollo 20 mission.
Era o piloto da nave espacial. Se acreditarmos no homem, no passado as pessoas viajaram.
Let me just jump ahead to, here it is, the actual craft that they say they found, this giant, I think it's like a mile. It might have been even longer than that. But the claim is that that they found this this alien on the craft, and they dubbed her the Mona Lisa. But I've heard that that this is a produced video, that it's all fake. And one of the reasons why I do think it's not real is because the astronauts are conducting this examination of this alien being on the actual craft inside the capsule. And from my understanding, that Apollo capsule is kind of small, right? It barely fits, the number. I don't know if it's 3 astronauts or 4 astronauts or whatever, but there's barely enough room for those guys to move around. So, what are the chances that they're going to be able to conduct an examination of an alien being? And again, another thing is like, that's not how NASA operates, right? If they were to actually find an alien being on a craft on the moon, and they intended to bring the being on board, they would have made, right? The astronauts would have went up there, because again, they knew it was up there, right? I mean, if they had the patches, right, that show, that they pre-made, right, before going on the mission, then obviously they knew the craft was up there. They most likely knew that there was an alien being in the craft. So they would have constructed a box or container, right, for this being, that they would have, that the astronauts would have gone up there, they would have put the being in this container, and then they would have came back to Earth before they did any type of examination. But in the video, again, you see these astronauts conducting this examination of this alien female. And the claim is like she's, like 1 million years old or something like that. Again, which I'm not buying. I don't think it's real. And then last is it's from this Gaia clip of these mummified beings that were found in the Atacama Desert. Right now, yeah, now this I believe is real because yeah, you know, they have the X-rays. Let's see it. Where are the X-rays? Oh, I don't know where the X-ray is of this thing. Anyways, yeah, so that's that clip. There's a bunch of stuff in it. Link will be in the description. Let's check out this one here of this, you know, all these crafts that are shooting out of this volcano, Popocatépetl.
Fue la pregunta que miles de usuarios hicieron en redes sociales, luego de que Webcams de México compartiera imágenes sobre un extraño avistamiento de una flotilla de extrañas luces que salen del Popocatépetl y que ha dejado muchas preguntas. Este avistamiento sucedió alrededor de las 8:33 de la noche del pasado 24 de agosto en el municipio de Tianguismanalco, Puebla. En las imágenes se puede ver cómo primero sale una luz cilíndrica, donde momentos después, increíblemente sale una fila de luces que parecieran salir del cráter del gran coloso. Rápidamente, este hecho fue objeto de debates en quienes revivieron la teoría del que el volcán es una base extraterrestre o incluso un portal dimensional que lleva a otros mundos, debido a los pasados avistamientos que se han logrado captar en anteriores meses. Pero ¿qué fue lo que se cree que pudo haber sucedido tras los rumores que se desencadenaron por esta
Yeah, now they're just going to keep playing this the same clip over and over again. But you know, I found another clip of I don't know if it's the same incident, but it or whether it was taken from the other side of the volcano, because you know you see these crafts, they're, you know, they're shooting out, instead of shooting out here to the left, they're shooting out to the right. So it could have been filmed from the other side, or you know, could have been another incident. But they also show other crafts. Like, yeah, like, you know, this isn't the first clip of crafts coming, you know, out of this volcano. There's actually a bunch of videos of UFOs flying around, coming in, coming back out of this volcano. And also there's a volcano in Mexico called Colima. Same thing, the bunch of videos of UFOs entering and exiting this volcano, which again, you know, goes back to what I'm saying, you know, that these guys aren't visitors. I mean, if we see them coming in and out of these volcanoes, yeah, you know, like for years, people have, you know, or these cameras have been capturing these UFOs. They're not visitors, right? I've posed this question before in some of my other videos, right? If you saw your neighbors coming in and out of their homes every single day, multiple times a day, right, for years, would you assume that they are visiting, or would you conclude they live there, which is why you see them coming in and out, right? I mean, the International Space Station has clips of crafts, you know, entering and exiting our atmosphere all the time. Ryan Graves has talked about how, you know, when he was flying his jet on the East Coast, that on their missions they would encounter these crafts hovering over the ocean every single day, and you know, according to the radar, these crafts are out there for days on end, shoot up into space, come back down, but they're out there every single day. So yeah, we're not alone on the planet, folks. Now let's see. This is a clip of this helicopter that captured this sphere. Yeah, well, it's a very shaky video, but yeah, that's all. There's nothing else really exciting about this video, but the link will be in the description. Let's go to this clip here from Theory of Everything. Like I said, Kurt Jamungo asks him about, what's his most sobering thought. But yeah, what he reveals here is kind of interesting. So let me just go ahead and play this.
Imagine everything you've been taught, whether it's through Sunday school or through regular formal education in school, or what our political leaders have told us. And yes, even maybe our mothers and fathers around the dinner table have told us, or maybe at bedtime, about who we are, right? Our background and our past. What if all of that turned out to be not entirely accurate? In fact,
when he says not entirely accurate, he's being kind. They've been lying to us. Okay, they have been outright lying to us, because I know there are people who know the truth.
The very history of our species, the meaning, what it means to be a human being, and our place in this universe. What if all that is now in question? What if it turns out that a lot of the things that we thought were one way aren't? Are we prepared to have that honest question with ourselves? Are we prepared to recognize that we're not at the top of the food chain, potentially? That we're not the alpha predator, that we are maybe somewhere in the middle? It's interesting, because I was having a discussion with a friend not too long ago. We call them graybeards in the government. Really, really smart guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but I was talking to him probably a couple months ago. And this is a guy who was always paid to solve the hard problems for the U.S. government. Cold War. How do we solve that, right? How do we do these big things? How do we go in and beat the Russians at their own game? So this guy I respect tremendously. And we had a conversation. He said, Lou, mankind's been around for a little while. And for most of that time, mankind's been around. We've been smack in the middle of the food chain. We've been, we ate a lot of things, and a lot of things ate us. And that's just the bottom line. And about 70,000 years ago, something fundamentally changed. Something changed. And our species was instantly catapulted to the very top of our planet as far as predatory animals. And now all of a sudden, we became the most feared. We were the most lethal and the most successful. In fact, most of the large species that existed on this planet went extinct because of us, believe it or not, because we started eating all of it. There were a couple species that did very, very well with our ascension, our immediate ascension. And we brought a couple species with us. The dog is an example, where the dog species benefited greatly with mankind's ascension as the alpha predator, and wound up succeeding as well, very, very well off of that. That changed the entire global landscape of our planet almost overnight. Large animals went extinct because of us.
This part I don't agree with him. Right? The large animals did not go extinct because of us. Now, because remember, back in the past, right, there weren't as many humans, right? Granted, now there's, a little over 8 billion, but it took over 2,000 years for the human population to reach the first billion people, right? So, you go back further, there weren't a lot of humans around. And the reason why there weren't a lot of humans around is because of the Younger Dryas event, right? When those two meteors hit planet Earth, or hit the Greenland ice caps, threw all that debris in the air, right, blocked out the sun, right? Most of the large megafauna, as well as the humans that did exist, were wiped out because there was no food to eat. All the plant life on the planet died. So again, he's not being completely honest with us in that respect, right? Go back to what what's his name? The guy that wrote the that we forgot our history, or that we're a species with amnesia. Because of the Younger Dryas event, there was only, they've said that it came down to, like less than 1,000 people. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, but I know the majority of the human population was wiped out during the Younger Dryas event.
What if it turns out that there's another species that is even higher on that ladder than we are? Do we need the social institutions that we have today? Will we need governmental and religious organizations that we have today if it turns out that there is something else or someone else that is technologically more advanced and perhaps from an evolutionary perspective more advanced? Have we been wasting our time all this time? Or are we doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing? Does it turn out that mankind is in fact just another animal in the zoo? Or because we thought ourselves as a zookeeper before, but maybe we're just another exhibit inside the zoo. What would that mean to us? So when I say sombering and sobering, I mean that there's going to come a point in this conversation where we're going to have to do a lot of reconciling with ourselves.
Yeah, notice how he's posing what he's saying as a question, because he doesn't want to, come right out and say that there are advanced beings that share the planet with us, that we are not the only sentient beings on the planet. And again, one thing I also want to say about when he says that what we've been taught is not entirely all true. One thing that I've realized is that what they've taught us about evolution is a complete lie, right? Because if we evolved from another hominid species, right? Ask yourself, right? When we are scientifically, we're called Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens sapiens, right? Well, if we evolved from another hominid species, right? Ask yourself, in what grade were you taught the scientific name of the hominid species that we evolved from? Because, I did pretty well in school. I paid attention, to biology. I took archaeology. I took anthropology classes, and in none of my classes was I ever taught the scientific name of the hominid species that Homo sapiens sapiens evolved from. Now, I know, that there are these other hominid species, right? Neanderthals, the Denisovans, right? And now we know that, there's these little people called Homo floresiensis, right? But those were all mutually exclusive species. Now, no doubt that there are some humans today that have traces of Neanderthal DNA, right? There are some people, right? I think mostly like in Indonesia or the Philippines and things like that have traces of Denisovan DNA. But all that means is that, somewhere in the past, our ancestors were mating, again, with a different species of hominid. And, we know, right, about the other hominid species that have been discovered in the fossil record, right? Homo erectus and Georgicus and and all the other ones. But again, the reason why they have different scientific name is because they are mutually exclusive species, right? And yeah, you know, and if you see the or if you see where they are in the fossil record, right? If you see that timeline, right, all of those lines, they come to an end, which means they went extinct. All the other previous hominid species that we find in the fossil record have all gone extinct, right? Neanderthals went extinct, right? Denisovans went extinct, right? Homo erectus went extinct. Homo habilis, right? All of those went extinct. None of them evolved into another hominid species. Every single one of them went extinct. So, you know, when they show them on that human evolutionary chart, again, that's a lie. Okay, because none of those species evolved into another species. That really, you know, those charts should really be called the human extinction charts, because they all went extinct. And you know, if you look at where we literally, Homo sapiens sapiens, just appear in the fossil record, right? There is no direct connection to a previous hominid species. So yeah, we have been lied to. We have been brainwashed. But anyways, that's as much as I want to play of that. Link will be in the description. Definitely check out the rest of this video. Very interesting. Now let me go to this last clip here about this UFO sighting from 1897. Let me give this a quick read. About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship which had been sailing through the country. It was traveling due north and much nearer the Earth than ever before. Evidently, some of the machinery was out of order, for it was making a speed of only 10 or 12 miles an hour and gradually settling towards the Earth. It stalled directly over the public square, and when it reached the north part of town, collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went to pieces with a terrific explosion, scattering debris over several acres of ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank and destroying the judge's flower garden. The pilot of the ship is supposed to have been the only one on board, and while his remains are badly disfigured, enough of the original had been picked up to show that he was not an inhabitant of this world. Mr. T.J. Weems, the United States Signal, you know, again, I think they're assuming, right, that he's not an inhabitant of this world because he just looks so odd, as opposed to, you know, concluding that we just have other species that also share the planet with us. Mr. T.J. Weems, the United States Signal Service officer at this place and an authority on astronomy, gives it at his opinion that he was a native of the planet Mars. Again, they're assuming that. They're making a great leap of assumption, whatever. Papers found on his person, evidently the record of his travels, are written in some unknown hieroglyphics which cannot be deciphered. The ship was too badly wrecked to form any conclusion as to its construction or motive power. It was built of an unknown metal resembling somewhat a mixture of aluminum and silver, and it must have weighed several tons. The town is full of people today who are viewing the wreck and gathering specimens of the strange metal from the debris. The pilot's funeral will take place at noon tomorrow. So I wonder if you could still find his gravesite, and you know what happened to the pieces of this wreckage. Right? This happened in 1897 in Aurora, Texas. Interesting. Anyways, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for making it to the end. Like I've said before, if you appreciate the time and effort that I put into bringing this information to you, please give this video a like. Please share this video. And more importantly, please subscribe. Until next time, take care.